If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
The bluest skies you've ever seen are in Seattle.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Ron and Don Show. That's Matt right there. We're just singing about our sadness that Bobby Sherman has left the building. In fact, we're going to open up the mailbag, and Matt off the mic has a question about Bobby Sherman. In fact, we're just talking about him. So we'll get to that in the mailbag. Also, we got to talk about the hot sheriff that evidently can't find bad guys, because every time I go anywhere now, in fact, I was at a gathering over the weekend, there were 6 women there, and they said, hey, is this bad to say? Who is that hot sheriff? And of course, we're talking about the 3 little girls that were murdered by their father, and now they can't find the father, and it's because the hot sheriff cannot find the father. So anyway, it's weird to me, like in Minneapolis, some politicians there get whacked, and within 48 hours, we know who the guy is. He's locked up. They chase him down in a farmer's field. So the hot sheriff may be hot, and maybe I'm a little jealous, but he's not a very good investigator. Everywhere I go, everyone's talking about the hot sheriff, and I have to jump in and say, hey, but has the hot sheriff found the murderer yet? Before we get to that, though, let's get to Mark Cuban. He has left the Dallas Mavericks, which is really weird. He sold off his portion of the team. He still owns some of it. It's not the controlling portion. And then they said that he was still going to be in charge, but evidently they made some big trades earlier this year. He's not in charge. And then everybody wondered, why did he leave the Shark Tank? I liked him on the Shark Tank. Kevin O'Leary and him have become very good friends, but you can tell lots of different politics there. Kevin O'Leary comes way from the right. Mark Cuban comes from the left. And Ron, now they're saying he may have done this to enter the ultimate Shark Tank, which would be to run for the presidency of the United States. We did some radio in Dallas. I used to work out at a place where Mark Cuban used to play basketball. I have to say he's a very good basketball player. He actually hired off our producer when we left Dallas. Her name was Katie Darrell.
Her name is still Katie Darrell.
Her name is still Katie Darrell. That's her TV name, though. She's not doing that TV show anymore. So anyway, her name is Katie Adams, and she had known him. How long would it be since we were in Dallas? It'd probably be 25 years, right? So she just quit. I think that's some restructuring. So she was there maybe 25 years doing the TV job. She's doing one of those countdown shows. She said she didn't talk to him a lot, but he was really amazing to chat with. Also, it was just kind of known in Dallas when he made all his money off of broadcast.com that you could go to, he had a Gmail account, and if you had a good idea, this is before the Shark Tank, write him about your idea and he might become an investor in it. And he would write everyone back. Shark Tank started with Kevin O'Leary up in Canada. It did so well. They invited,
Dragon's Den.
Yeah, they invited the current group to be a part of that, and then he just left. What say you? I know that he's doing a big thing right now with pharmaceuticals and trying to make sure that pharmaceuticals are affordable for everyone. Have we kind of entered the day of, it used to be maybe Ronald Reagan, because he was famous and in the movies, got his gig in California, and then ultimately the president of the United States. So our current president is not the only one to be a TV star, but Mark Cuban, I would think most people would know him as a TV star. Do you think he has the smarts, the gravitas, and enough of a following to maybe be the next president of the United States from the left?
I think I would like that, and like for some basic, my standards have changed so much and the bar is so low now. Mark Cuban reads voraciously. Like that's something where you're like, okay, that's an upgrade. Someone that would read the briefings, someone that has read enough, that has a basic understanding of the world and is constantly learning, things like that. His foray into the pharmaceutical game of saying, I'm going to go. He did that like a lot of billionaires go, oh, I'm going to give back and I'm going to help the community. Mark Cuban put his money where his mouth is. Like there's a company that doesn't make him. He could have maximized the profit off of that. And I forget the name of his pharmaceutical thing, but it is as bare bones as it gets to get cheap drug prices. And they're always expanding the drugs that they have in there. And he did that because he read something. He talked to smart people and some doctors and some pharmacists and built a team around him and said, can we disrupt this space? And then they went out and did it. Like that's the type of person that doesn't follow the Doge model of, hey, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to break a bunch of stuff and then see if we need to put things back together. Mark Cuban's approach was, let's identify a problem, see if there's a better way to do it, and deploy something in a very smart way. So he denies that he's running for president, but I think he has been dipping his toe more and more into politics. He's very critical of Donald Trump many times, and he will come out and do it in an outspoken way. My favorite one that he ever did, that was kind of when he was just crap talking, he's like, hey, my definition of being a billionaire is that you actually have $1 billion. Unlike at the time, he's like claiming that you're a billionaire, but you don't actually have $1 billion is just a claim to say, oh, my valuation is in the equity of my name. My name itself is worth $2 billion. He's like, that's not.
Yeah, I don't care about that as much. My question is, they are both billionaires, and I don't feel like the current administration represents all of us. I don't see any black people sitting around that table, and I don't see a lot of Hispanics, and I don't see a lot of women. I see some, but not a lot. And if the women are there, it seems like they're very beautiful women. They're very beautiful people, very beautiful men. And I know that he has said, hey, this is a TV show, and I want it to be a great TV show. So I wonder if Mark Cuban, I wonder when the last time he was hungry or the last time that he flew coach. That's my concern, is sometimes we're electing people that can't really relate to the rest of us. But I do think in that this tack that he's taken with pharmacy companies, it does seem like he cares. So
I think it seems like he cares. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Let's just say that. I think that the Democratic Party has done a lot of where the Democrats find themselves right now is their own doing. And I think the Democrats swung too far left. And there's a small contingent of radical left politicians that brought things too far left, in the same way that there's a small contingent of radical right politicians that are trying to pull things too far to the left.
I don't know. I didn't like either guy that ran, and I still don't. Like, right. I'm not a fan of either guy, and I really didn't like that the one guy, and I've been very clear about this, that said he was going to leave office. I'm going to be a bridge builder. I'm going to be a bridge for someone else. Didn't do that. And then cognitively for his family to cover up. The thing that pisses me off is, like, in my own family, we have someone that's very important to us that has cognitive issues. And I've tried to have some conversations around that. And it is very, very difficult for families to have those conversations, especially when someone has great long-term memory. And I think about this person in our family. They could sit around at a birthday party and tell you stories about them growing up that are vibrant, they're fun, they're laughter, they're very specific. But for people that don't understand, when you start having cognitive issues when you're older, and it's not necessarily Alzheimer's, it's not necessarily Parkinson's, but when you see that short-term memory, like I had someone that was staying at my house once, and I have a coffee pot, and all you have to do is press a button. You have the same coffee pot, and it makes a cup of coffee for you. I would even put Post-it notes up there when I wasn't there, and they just couldn't do it. And what they really wanted is they wanted the coffee pot from their house, because that's the coffee pot they've been using for the last 15, 20 years. And their long-term memory, that train track, that neuron, those neurons that are wired together, fire together, like that makes sense to them. And so sometimes, I would have people in my family talk to this particular person sometimes, and like, hey, I just got off the phone with them. They're great. And I said, they're great because you're reminiscing. And when you're reminiscing, a lot of times that long-term memory is the last to go. It's the short-term memory, and we saw that with Joe Biden. I even think we're seeing a little bit of that with the current president right now. I see some of the misfiring of that brain, and I'm for, if you're going to run for the presidency, then I do think if there's going to be term limits, there should be age limits too. And
woman, TV, dolphin,
and I do think that everybody should have to. There's a very short 30-question cognitive test, and when you fail that one or struggle with that one, there's a longer one that takes a number of hours. It's more in depth. I think what Joe Biden and his family did is they killed the national conversation, and we all need to be having these conversations about the people that we love and care about. It killed that conversation, and the best thing that family could do right now is come out and talk about it, and they won't. They won't admit.
That's why Mark Cuban being an outsider is an interesting candidate.
And being younger.
Being an actual billionaire, having a track record of businesses.
And being an actual billionaire is not important to me.
But the track record of the businesses.
I don't care about that at all. And he will tell you, because he was a billionaire, he invested more in companies than anybody else on Shark Tank. Some of them just didn't have the money. And he said if you look at all the businesses that he invested in and you added everything up and you looked at the bottom line, he lost money on the deal. He didn't gain, but he certainly gained notoriety, and that might be the notoriety that actually pushes him in the White House. But what we just saw in New York City with a 36-year-old man that's not a billionaire, that does look like people that live out in the community, that has brown skin, that's not another retread like Andrew Cuomo. It's like, dude, your family had their shot. We're done with you. Let's move on. I hope the left and the right, I hope we all feel like that. We don't need TV stars and billionaires. What we really need are people that look like us. That's why when you look in the House of Representatives, you look at people that look like us. When you see the Senate, you see really old white guys, and then look at their staff. It's all old white guys. And then you look around that table, and whether it's the Oval Office or a cabinet meeting, there are no black people sitting there. So there's 70% of Americans, I believe, are black today. So we need to make sure.
70 or 17?
17. We need to make sure that whatever is happening in the other Washington is reflective in the rest of us. And last time I checked, we're not billionaires. More in a minute. Hey, you guys, it's Ron and Don here for Les Schwab. And right now, Les Schwab tires save up to $80 instantly on a select set of 4 tires. In fact, Ron, you can choose from all-weather tires for year-round traction, or what about EV or hybrid tires? They're designed for durable electric performance or rugged terrain tires made to handle dirt, gravel, and I love to go adventuring. What about you?
Yeah, plus every tire comes with America's best tire warranty, including a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. And check this out, free lifetime maintenance, FREE. I love that. Just another way you get more from less. Stop by your neighborhood Les Schwab or learn more at leschwab.com. That's leschwab.com. This is a limited time offer while supplies last. See leschwab.com/sale for details.
Today's show is made possible by your friends Ron and Don. When you're ready to sit down and strategize about your real estate journey, schedule your time with the guys at ronandonsitdown.com.
He's mad off the mic, behind the scene, don't you know? It's mailbag time on the Ron and Don show.
You don't have a question?
He's mad off the mic, behind the scene, don't you know? It's mailbag time on the Ron and Don
All right, Matt off the mic is here, and I don't know if you guys know this. He loves Here Comes Your Bride, which I think was out in the 60s. It made Bobby Sherman a star. Bobby Sherman, you guys, has left the building at the age of 81. Matt was just telling me all this. I don't know if you guys know this, but he was actually a LA. I think it was an LA County sheriff.
Are we in the mailbag right now or not in the mailbag yet?
He was actually an LA County sheriff, and Matt had some questions about Bobby Sherman that Ron and I are going to try to answer. And God bless Bobby Sherman, who is no longer
This
with us.
comes from Bill and Burian.
Passed away a couple of years ago. Was the question you were going to ask something about the Sounders game in the song Seattle?
Perry Como's version of The Bluest Skies You've Ever Seen or in Seattle, called Seattle, went to number 3 or whatever, and Bobby Sherman's version was never released as a single. It got some airplay or whatever, but he was famous for other songs and also for being on Here Come the Bride.
Wait, you're not supposed to be making statements. You're supposed to. We are
he is.
hosts.
Yes,
and
he
you're
is.
supposed to be asking us questions.
He is off the mic.
Oh.
And this is a loaded mailbag.
And why are you picking on? I will say this. I don't know why you're picking on Bobby Sherman. He's dead. Perry Como's been dead for a long time. And this is the point I make about Perry Como. I remember sitting there
why are
with
you
my
so
parents.
angry about Bobby Sherman?
I'm pissed off about Perry Como and that you'd even bring him up. Because when he sings Seattle, and I wish I could play it for you, but there's copyright issues. It's the bluest. It's a very, very slow rendition. Bobby comes in and peps it up. He does.
It is peppy.
It's very peppy when Bobby sings it.
But
it's the song that you sing when you raise the scarf. I'm not done about Perry Como. It's the song that you sing at every Sounders game. And here's the thing I hate. I have deep hatred for Perry Como.
That it's not actually.
My parents would make me watch the Perry Como Christmas special. There was nothing Christmas about the Perry Como Christmas special, and you look it up. They would like tape it in July. There was a beach. There's never any snow. When you're a little kid, you want to see Santa. You want to see Frosty. You want to see Rudolph. There was nothing. There wasn't even a Christmas Carol. And then at the end of the show, they'd sing something like White Christmas with Bing Crosby. So they'd advertise it as a Christmas show. There was nothing Christmas about the Perry Como Christmas special. And then you come in here, man, off the mic, you bring them up, and I can tell you're a Perry Como fan, and you don't like the Bobby Sherman fan. That is the song that is sung, and I believe they used the Bobby Sherman song at the Sounders game.
My biggest thing on this is it's not even close to the bluest skies you've ever seen. Seattle doesn't have the bluest skies.
I don't think they filmed it here. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, when you think of the bluest skies you've ever seen, Seattle's not even in the top 10.
Yeah, is it true that Bobby Sherman starred in Here Comes the Bride? He did in the 60s. It made him a team idol. I think Matt was about to ask that. And then when is the last time he went on patrol down in California? He say he continued to go on patrol as a reserve officer until about a year ago when he was.
Wait, did you just ask yourself your own question in the mailbag?
What I love is he used to hang out with Gage and DeSoto from Emergency. And when they all retired, they all joined the reserves. And you know that Gage and DeSoto, that's actually Randy Mantooth, who still lives in California.
If the Brady Bunch is going to get mentioned here within 60
DeSoto
seconds.
lives up here in the great state of
Either
Washington.
Gilligan's Island or the Brady Bunch is coming.
They're both still alive.
I feel it coming.
Who's alive and who's dead on 1 Adam 12?
I don't even
Ken
know.
McCord, live.
I don't even think I ever watched the show.
Milner, he's dead. He's been dead like 12, 13 years.
Never watched the show.
What about Dragnet?
Never watched
Everyone's dead from Dragnet. So, Matt, did that answer your question?
This is Greg from Gig Harbor writes, was Emergency filmed in Seattle? That's what he wants to know.
Not only was it filmed on the lot down in California, it's really interesting. Where they filmed Emergency, they also filmed The Munsters. And every once in a while,
why do you know this stuff?
Every once in a while, when you're watching Emergency, they respond to the Munster House.
Why do you even
And then
know
some
this?
of the same cars. There's a blue pickup truck that you see in the Munsters, like just sitting on the street. Same car you see in Emergency. They say that was Randy Mantooth's car that he'd drive to work. And sometimes on the lot, they just needed other cars sitting there.
How and why do you
And
know
most
this
of the
stuff?
emergency calls it was like Dragnet and 1 Adam 12. It was based on row calls. And those were the first paramedics in America. And then there were 3 emergencies, and I tried to buy one. And
I'm going to ask you for seriousness. Do you remember this stuff from like being a kid or as an adult? You learn these things? Like your breadth of knowledge on TV shows that have been off the air for 40 years is remarkable.
Well, I'm in a chat group now about Emergency.
Oh my God.
And we're all waiting for Randy Mantooth to die. We can't believe he's still with us. And you just look at him, you're like, there's no way he didn't croak today. And then boom, he shows up on a video. He's on Cameo a lot. And you know who else is on Cameo at 71 is Greg Brady. I'm surprised you bring up the Brady.
There it is.
Yeah.
Everybody take a drink.
By the way, no new episodes of the Brady Bros.
I hope it never
They
has
had a
new
little
episode.
teaser a couple weeks ago. I've been waiting for something to drop. And I think...
Can we just agree? Probably the best.
I think they're trying to get a hold of Marsha to be on the next show. She's been unavailable because I believe she has some dental work done and hasn't been able to make the show. So the real Brady Bros have been on hiatus. They should just say summertime or on hiatus. They haven't. Greg, though, this is awesome. He wants to have a sleepover because the woman that brought the Brady house, because they just used the outside of the house, she went in and then they had a show on HGTV where they took the 6 kids. They made the inside now look like it looked at the, and I think they did this at Paramount Studios. So the inside now looks like the Brady house with Alice's sleep quarters and everything. And Sam the Butcher would come over and they with Sam. We all know this happened.
Can we just agree this is the best
Bobby and Cindy walk.
Hey,
mailbag
can I make
segment?
But real quick, Greg, Greg,
I can't take it anymore.
Greg wants to have a contest
I can't
on Cameo
take it anymore.
and on the Real Brady Bros. He wants to have a sleepover and invite fans to come over and sleep over there.
Make it stop.
I want to go sleep over there. Don't you?
Go, please go.
I want to win this contest, and
Ron,
I want
think
to.
you can- I
That
think-
way, I could say I slept with Cindy Brady.
I think you can just say, can we agree? And then just stop there, and the answer is no.
We can't agree. All right.
I can't. Aren't you in a chat room you're not proud of? Like I'm not proud.
I'm not in any chat rooms.
I'm looking for the Real Brady Bros chat room. I have not found it yet.
That's because nobody listens to it.
There aren't a lot of followers.
No.
I might be the only one. All right, Matt. Anything else off the mic in the mailbag today, or we wind
No.
in some great questions? That was a great one, Greg and Gig Harbor. Thank
I
you.
would not dare to say anything at this
Is that
point. It? Oh, God.
More in a minute.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Before we get out of here, on a serious note, the sheriff and the sheriffs in Kittitas County, up in Chelan, up near Kolchak Lake, have been looking for a guy by the name of Travis Decker. He's the ex-infantry soldier that picked up his daughters. He'd been living in his truck. He picked up his daughters. He took them to a camp area. He put bags over all their heads and murdered all of them, and then he disappeared. Some people are saying that they had spotted him up in the enchantments. If you've ever been up there, that's some rough terrain. Even if you're a soldier that is well trained, they say that they thought they saw somebody that they thought was him, but he was ill prepared. And I don't know exactly what that means.
There was also a helicopter sighting where they went down to investigate. The person ran, and then they haven't been able to find that person.
Yeah. So the sheriff out there, who is really good looking, according to every single woman I know and all the posts that I see on Facebook, and a lot of them are like, isn't it inappropriate to say how hot he is when they haven't found the Travis Decker, the killer? I think it is, because when you're hot, it doesn't mean you're a good investigator. In fact, the investigation has now been taken away from him, and they brought in the U.S. Marshals, and they brought in some other folks to say, hey, let's go see if we can find him. I don't know if they're ever going to find him, Ron, because I think if you're him, maybe at some point you realize what you did, and you dig a hole, and you sit in that hole, you eliminate your life, and maybe someone will find his skeletal remains one day. But he wasn't kind to these girls, and he's certainly not going to be kind to these searchers. And you know someone like him is never going to go to jail. But maybe he realized what he did and ended up taking his life. Because you would think, on a serious note, by this time, that the sheriff's department, some of these high mountain rescue teams that have been up there, along with the U.S. Marshal Service, you think that there would have been more sightings, or they would have found him by now. And if he was the person that they saw from the helicopter that appeared to not be prepared and prepared to be up there dodging people and dodging folks. I've been through the enchantments a number of times. You got to take a lot of gear up there with you if you're going to go camping like he was. And you're not going to last very long because it gets very cold up there. Hypothermia sets in. Animals get a hold of you, and the next thing you know, the bones are scattered. So what are your thoughts? I don't think Travis Decker is probably... two thoughts. I agree the sheriff's hot. Two, though, I think that Travis Decker has left the building, and I don't think he's with us anymore.
That's a good probability that happened. I talked to a buddy of mine in law enforcement. He said that could be the case. They also talk about, though, there's a lot of summer cabins and uninhabited buildings up there that you could easily break into. I think back to the Barefoot Bandit, who would find
I forgot about him.
Uninhabited cabin on island.
Colton Harris Moore.
Break in. He could get supplies. He could take a shower. He could find some canned goods, canned food, and whatnot. And so there are experts saying he could have found some of these. I have a place up there on the Skycomish, and there's a train track that goes by there. If you could get on one of those trains, you could be in Chicago in 2 days. If you could do a train jumping sort of situation.
Have you tried to jump on a train?
It's gone by.
Do you think you could get on it?
I think there are some curves where it slows down. It's possible. I've talked to a guy that has jumped trains before, and it's possible to get on a train.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's likely if there is a train in that area. There could be someone up in one of these cabins that has a truck that they leave up there that you could have stolen.
So you think he might still be around?
And there's some caves and things up there and mines that were built back in the day. So I think it's possible with his training and military experience that he could still be alive. I think this case is going to be broken by a civilian tip. I think that there's going to be someone that sees something, sees his photo, sees something that seems off, and they they call 911 and report it. I think that's how this is going to go down.
Do you think the sheriff's hot?
Not my type.
Yeah. He is hot. And when you hear women talk about it, you get a little jealous. You're like,
I don't.
I've never been that hot. When were you the hottest?
You know who I just saw an interview with at age 61 is Brad Pitt with Dak Shepard.
Well,
he's had some work done, but he still looks great.
The glasses that he's wearing, right? By the way, he's going to be at the Bezos wedding.
He's
hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Did you
go see? Are you going to go see F1?
I might. I don't know very much about the sport, but it looks like a pretty good movie. Check out. You would really like the interview he does with Dax. They met at an AA meeting and they talk pretty openly about it. It's a very good interview.
Huh.
And he's got his new line of shirts on that you might want to buy one of those shirts.
And his new girlfriend.
I think I saw a picture. Yeah,
she's very hot.
He's Brad Pitt.
So you think Brad Pitt is hotter than the Kittitas sheriff?
Brad Pitt at 61 is hotter than this Kittitas County sheriff.
I'm going to ask all these married women I know because they really like the sheriff. And then you look online, boy, they really... And it is inappropriate.
It's remarkable how different our social media feeds are. Because I get 0 Brady Bros. I get 0 hot sheriff.
When were you the hottest?
Probably 42.
Oh.
What about you?
33. 33. It's been all downhill since then.
I agree.
Yeah. When have you been the hottest lately?
Today.
Okay.
This is my best I'm ever going to be until the end.
Gosh.
Right now.
Are you realizing you're getting old? Like, is that happening yet?
Oh yeah.
It is. Okay. I had to get on, boy, you get on the other side of 50 and really it's the double nickel and you're not there yet. When you get to the double nickel and then
it's an acceleration.
Well, you double your age, like I always say. And you're like 54, double your age. You're like, yeah, I might be through half my life. Once you get to the double, 54, 50, you're like, there's 110. There's no way. And you can sit there and tell yourself with AI and all that, you're going to be around at 110. You're not going to be around at 110. You don't want to be around at 110. Chances are, though, Brad Pitt, 61 times 2.
He's still there.
He might still be around.
He'll still be dating a 35-year-old.
Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, if you need us, just reach out. Thanks for allowing us to be your broadcasters, your friends, and, of course, your real estate brokers. We do something called a Ron and Don Sit-Down.
Yeah, let's go to ronanddonsitdown.com. We'd love to partner with you on your real estate journey, buying, selling, or investing. Let's do it.
Yeah. Follow us on social media. I'm Don O'Neill. He's Ron Upshaw. You can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. We'd love for you to give us a follow. We take a lot of what we do here. Matt Off the Mic makes many shorts out of them. We post them. We are on YouTube if you want to watch the show. In fact, we're talking into a camera right now that it makes us look kind of hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Brad Pitt hot, but
and not the sheriff of Kittitas hot. We're not there yet. So if you need our buyer's playbook or seller's playbook, we have those. It's a 20-minute read. You sit down, you have a cup of coffee, and then you ask yourself, am I going to buy, sell, or invest in a piece of real estate? Whenever there's a little volatility, it might be time, and the water feels a little choppy. The good news, though, is here in the Pacific Northwest, compared to other parts of the country, this real estate market is always really good, you guys. So just go to ronanddonsitdown.com and we'll sit down with you today. Thanks to Matt and Grace, my son, Charlie the dog. He's Ron and I'm Don. You keep your head up and your shoulders back, and we'll see you next time. You've been listening to the Ron and Don Show all night on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, it's G-Force O'Neill. Thanks for listening to my dad and his boyhood friend, Mr. Ron.